So if I ask the people in Group A and Group B, would you like to vote for or against this law? All of them will raise their hands and say, yes, we would like to vote. And what's the outcome of the vote? Well, the outcome of the vote is the proposed law will be defeated. It will be defeated. Why? Because although it's great for the people in Group B, they'll all vote for it, there are a small number of people. The people in Group A, this law is bad for them. They outnumber the people in Group B. They're going to vote against it. And so consequently, the law will be defeated. That raises another question, which is this good for society? And clearly it is. This is a stupid law. It should be defeated. And in defeating it, society is better off. This thought experiment is normally how people imagine voter behavior in a democracy working. In fact, it's missing an important point, and the important point it's missing is what economists call the information and the voting cost. And information and voting cost is the cost, maybe in terms of money, maybe in terms of time and energy or effort, but it's the cost of first being aware that there's a vote pending, two, reading up or investigating and finding out what it is that's under consideration, three, reading this proposed law and deciding whether in the end you think this is good for you or bad for you, deciding how you're going to vote, and then finally getting up out of your chair, going to the voting place, voting, coming back home. All of that is costly, sometimes in terms of dollars, sometimes in terms of money, but it's costly. And in our thought experiment, what we'll do is simulate this information voting cost with a $20 fee. So I'm going to propose the same law for society. We're going to take $10 from everyone in Group A, we're going to burn half of it, we're going to give what's left to Group B. And the people can vote for or against, I don't care how they vote, but to vote at all, you must pay $20. That $20 represents the information and voting cost. Now, ask yourself, who is going to want to vote in this instance? Well, the people in Group B clearly are going to want to vote. They stand to gain a lot from this law, and although they have to pay $20 to vote, what they stand to gain exceeds the $20 they have to pay, and therefore they will be interested in voting. But look at the people in Group A. The people in Group A each have to pay $10 if this law is passed. But the cost of fighting the law actually exceeds the cost of living with it. So the people in Group A have a strong incentive not to vote at all. And so what happens? Well, what happens is, in our thought experiment, this law passes unanimously. The only people who turn up to vote are the people in Group B, and the people in Group B unanimously vote for it, and the law passes unanimously. Is society better off? No, society is actually worse off. This is a bad law, and yet this is something that has emerged from the democratic process once you understand that an information and a voting cost is a real thing. Now, this is just a thought experiment, but you see this all over the place. Take, for example, sugar. There's a sugar tariff. All sugar that comes into the United States has a tariff attached to it. Therefore, when you buy sugar, you pay more than you would otherwise. Well, who benefits from this? The people who benefit are American sugar producers. It turns out sugar requires an equatorial environment to grow. And so to grow sugar in the United States, you have to build these large buildings and simulate an equatorial environment. This is all very costly. And when you're done, the cost of growing sugar in the United States ends up being much higher than the cost of growing sugar in more equatorial environments. Consequently, when American sugar producers try to compete with foreign sugar producers, they can't. The foreign sugar producers can produce sugar at a lower cost. And so the American sugar producers have an incentive to go to Congress and say, would you please impose a tariff on imported sugar so we can compete? And